crucifixion. This is what crucifixion looks like and feels like. Paul said it this way. He said, we are crucified all the day. That means every day of my life, there is something. If you're one of those people I'm talking about who's moving and operating in his gift. Now, if you're doing nothing and you're not touching anybody, you're not helping anybody, you're not breathing on anybody, then nobody's out to crucify you. But if you are in fact operating in your gift and you know your purpose, you're crucified. Now, what is crucified? Crucifixion had a very specific purpose. It was done in a very specific way. First, it was to embarrass and unwrap the person so that people would walk by and throw stones and spat on them and conclude, you know what? He or she deserves to be in that position. Because once you've been exposed and your vulnerabilities have been shown to people, and they say, he's not the minister he's supposed to be. He's not the teacher. She's not the wife. And you're exposed. So the objective of crucifixion is public humiliation. What is that? Pain. It causes pain. And the next step is to nail your hands. Why? Because if I nail your hands, you can't touch anybody. And you don't want to touch anybody because it hurts too much. Right. So I'm not going to help somebody else because there's a risk that I'll be hurt. So I'm crucified because you've nailed my hands. And until I get the nails out of my hands, I won't touch anybody. And until I touch somebody else's life, then my life can't be touched. So me not touching anybody is a result of crucifixion. And then the nails in my feet. Well, if my feet are nailed, I'm stuck on a cross. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going out. I'm not going to the mall. I'm not going to the classes. I'm not going downtown to the jazz concert. Oh, do you want to go out? I don't want to go anywhere. I just don't want to go anywhere because you've been crucified. What happens is pain because nails in your feet cause you pain. So you're sitting in the house hurting because you don't have a social life, when in reality, everywhere your feet trod is blessed. But it's not blessed until your feet get there. Right. So if the enemy can nail your feet, then you don't move. You don't go to the job that's yours. You don't go to the bank where your loan is. You don't go. You're being crucified. Finally, not finally, because you got the piercing of the side, but another part of this is to push a crown of thorns on your head. That's because you're glorious. That's because you're smart. Now here you are qualified to be the supervisor. You know you can be the supervisor, but it gives you a headache. You can be a good parent, but the kids give you a headache. So your head is bleeding. Leadership hurts. So you don't want to be in charge. So you say, you know what? Give Janie the job. Let her have the headache. Because you're being crucified. And we got to remember that crucifixion is a step before resurrection.
Yeah, let me ask you.
Am I making sense?
Yeah,
Sure. Let me ask you this. When it comes to pain, now for me, and I'm sure for Shauna as well and yourself, you have, sympathy. You have compassion. Do you think sometimes some people have the capacity? Well, almost know the answer myself. But do you think what is driving people to have the capacity to watch others go through so much pain, and they're in positions of leadership and supposed to be servants, and they don't do anything?
Yeah, what is that?
I believe firmly in the ideological fact or reality that hurt people hurt people. I believe that most people who hurt others in spite of knowing that those people are suffering are people who are very hurt, even more so than the person they're hurting. Most of the people who hurt me are in a great deal of pain. People who criticize and slander, people who don't know the pain it causes or seem not to care, I have discovered they are in a great deal more pain than me. Think about it. It must be very, very painful for a person who is aware of the existence of pain, aware that they should be healing somebody, to hurt somebody. I often tell the ministers on my team at the church, look, y'all, we wounded healers. We're wounded healers. So whenever we're helping somebody, know that we too are wounded. Now, when we try to present as though we don't have pain, is where we get into trouble, because then
Yeah.
I have to hurt you. Now, here's a good example in the Bible when you say why. The Chaldeans now have been attacking Israel. They've been beating up on them, just messing with them. They're God's people, and the Chaldeans are just, and you got some folk that do take pleasure in kicking other folk. And so these
Well,
are
those
the
are
Chaldeans,
masochists.
right? Now, God, the Israelis, they call out to God. They say, "We're your people," and you know, they're kicking our butts. You know, what you gonna do? You gonna help us or what? You know, and I've been in that position where I've said, "Lord, listen, I'm your man of might and valor. All right, I ain't perfect, but these folk working me over like a weekend job. I got so many holes in my back, I feel like an ad for Swiss cheese. Jesus, what's happening? The backstab, a smile in your face. I done did all that crying. And had the Lord answered me the way he answered the children of Israel, he said, listen, I will not stop those who are attacking you. I won't stop them from hurting you. But they got in through this hole in your wall, the wall that surrounds Jerusalem. He called it a breach. He said, I'm not going to stop them from coming back, but I'm going to prepare the breach. So when they came back to hurt you with depression, they're going to find joy. When they come back to hurt you with loneliness, they're going to find happiness and love. When they come back, so you have people who become accustomed to hurting you through a particular area.
Well, I'll tell you
God
this.
wants to repair that breach,
Yeah.
not to take your enemy or the mean person away, but to make sure you don't have the weakness you had the last time. That's why the last guy you dated that broke your heart, that's why he ain't got a shot at a dinner. You know why? Because you've repaired the breach.
Yeah, I said to somebody one other time, I said to somebody, because, you know, when I was younger, I did my thing, and it wasn't heading in the right direction, not at all. But God brought me through it. My family prayed me through it. Bishop Morton fought me through it.
Right.
And I got to where I needed to be. But some of those people wanted to look back on that old timetable, Shauna. And one person, I had to confront them and just tell them, look here, I'm not where you thought you left me.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? They were looking back there, and I was up there.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's so important, though, and thank you for helping clear that up about you know, how a person can have such a tolerance for watching other people suffer. But
yeah,
I think what's going on right now with our young people is they need more people who are willing to allow them to be young people. We're forcing so much on them to grow up, and I know that this labeling thing that people are constantly doing with our young people is only setting them up to lower their expectations. Like you said, they have this expectation and acceptance of the fact that I probably won't live to be 21, whereas in all truth, there is a way for them to enjoy longevity. And I have, speaking of tolerance, I have no more tolerance. I have no more tolerance for those people who would pour poison into our young people's minds.
yeah,
I don't care who you are or what you think you are or what you think you've achieved. I have no more tolerance for those people who want to smile in your face and stab you in the back.
yeah.
Those people who actually participate in the destruction of our community and the destabilization of our community. They know where the breaches are.
Mike, what we can't do, what we can't afford to do anymore, you talk about a lack of tolerance. Our young people need discipline, they need direction, they need guidance, they need forgiveness, they need to be led. And right now, those of us who, for any length of time, are in front of them, are vying for those positions of leadership.